Hey folks, give me just a second. I think I messed this up. There's something wrong with my streaming software, and I don't know what's going wrong with it. But if you guys could sound off in the, yeah, it's not even showing in my YouTube. So, like, I don't even know how I can edit this. I don't understand why this is not doing well. I had this set up so that all I had to do is push a button and I could go live. And for some reason, yeah, can't do that. So I need to, oh man, filter in. Let me know where you guys are watching from, and we will get this all re-edited the way that it needs to be, so that it's actually discoverable. I wanted to do a live stream today because the situation may change while I film a video. I don't know. I'm a little bit irritated this morning with the administration, and I thought that we would talk about the current state of the Second Amendment promises, and I thought that it would be a good opportunity for you guys to be able to vent any frustration that you had. So let's try this. Hang on a second. All right. I don't know if I can. I think I have to keep that open. I don't think that we need this. Don't need that. Let me get my chat popped out really quick. Lives. Nope. I think I have to keep that open. I don't pop out the chat. We need there. This. Tech savvy. Sorry. All right. Cool. We are good. All right. Sorry about that. I might be coming in a little bit hot. Let me do this. Yeah. Okay. So maybe that sounds a little bit better. All right, folks. So let me know where you guys are watching from. And basically what I want to do today is talk about how we were promised by the president that during his campaign, that if he were elected, that he was going to basically go back and fix all of the problems that we have been experiencing in the Second Amendment community. Specifically, if we're intellectually honest, he mentioned the Biden era stuff, but we all know that the underlying problem is farther back than that, right? We all know that's the case. And he said first week, but maybe first day. I've done videos on this, right? And then that obviously passed. About a month in, he comes and says, hey, I'm writing an executive order. It's going to direct the Attorney General to come up with a whole bunch of proposals, right? So initially, my initial gut says, all right, well, that by itself tells me that you're not really plugged into the issue. And we knew that that was the case, right? I don't think anybody here is really under any illusion that the administration is, not really a big Second Amendment supporting organization, right? Like we've kind of seen that. Alaskan Ballistics, $5 super chat. Thank you very much. Keep up the good work. We kind of knew going in, especially just looking at the previous tenure, how this was sort of going to go. However, there was one thing that the man said when he was on the campaign trail the second time, was that he listened a whole bunch to the National Rifle Association. And we know that the National Rifle Association is probably not a good resource for any president. So I find myself a little bit frustrated, and I know that a lot of you guys are fairly frustrated with the slow nature of how things are developing. Obviously, we know that there are priorities, and we knew going in that the Second Amendment was kind of low on the tier list, right? It's just that I didn't expect it to, well, actually, no, I take that back. I kind of expected it to be this low, if not lower than it currently is. So the fact that we are talking about this a little bit, or something has happened in the first month, even though it was not substantive at all, does give me some kind of, does give me a little bit of hope. However, I see this thing going kind of sort of like it did last time, where it's basically a big trade show, and it's what can we trade for this thing that I actually want. And I guarantee you that the Second Amendment is on the list of things that are tradable for something else that they actually want. When they run up against some political turmoil, when they actually have to get some legislation passed, like an agenda or a budget or something like that, they're going to trade the Second Amendment for that. Guarantee it every single time. That's what they did in their first administration. I don't have any reason to believe that this is any different, except for that I know that there are several people that are close, that are true Second Amendment advocates, right? So maybe we've got a little bit more chance this time around with full control of the government. Maybe. We'll see. But that's why I've kind of got to burr up my butt about this, because if you look at basically I've been on this administration's ass since Election Day, basically, saying, hey, it's like every week, you can basically go down the channel for the last, I don't know, 2 weeks, and you basically see Pam Bondi's face plastered all over. In fact, it's on this thumbnail as we speak, because she's currently holding the process up. For whatever reason, they've got more important stuff to do, and the whole reason that I came into the camp, because you can go back and look, 2 years ago, I'm like, yeah, there's no reason to do this ever again, because it's clear that they're not going to help us. What brought me into the camp was J.D. Vance, because he's literally on the record saying, yeah, we should probably just get rid of the ATF. In fact, when he ran for Senate, that's one of the reasons I was like, oh, I should go vote for that guy over here. He was my senator. So that's kind of what brought me back into the fold, so to speak. But just because I worked to help get this administration elected doesn't mean that I just rubber stamp every single thing that they do, and you guys shouldn't either. And one of the things that we have to do is make sure that we are vocal and pressing on them. Do you think that they would have said anything? And I guess for those of you who aren't like super plugged in, we got that executive order. It was on the 7th of February. It was supposed to be 30 days, which 28 days in February, that's March 9th, right? That came and went, and basically we had to bug them a whole bunch for them to give us a March 16th date for when that thing's going to come out. Well, if you guys haven't noticed, it is March 17th, and it has not yet come out. So let's go ahead and refresh again. We've got, something about deportations, and this is the White House. Not updated. So we'll get into this stuff here in a second. I don't know why that's freaking out. We'll get into those things in a second, but how are you guys feeling about this? Right? Is my question to you, because I'm pretty irritated about the concept of like, hey, we're going to do a thing in 30 days. And then 30 days comes around and they're like, oh, well, we're going to need an extra week. Well, give them the extra week. And here we are the day after that deadline. And here we are, nothing. And we had all the time in the world to do some big extravagant pro law enforcement crap this past Friday that took multiple days to set up, multiple deconflictions of schedule, and it was a gargantuan waste of time. We had time to do that, and we had time for all of our people to go on all of these shows, right? Right? You guys can see this? All of these shows over the weekend. But not once did we even come close to mentioning that whole Second Amendment thing, which is a week later, which is a day later, then a week later, then a month later, then a month later than it should have been. What it was promised on the campaign map, or campaign trail. Remember, the day we're the day after, which was a week after it was supposed to happen, which is 30 days after the order, which happened 30 days, a little less than a month after when he said it was going to happen, which was first day, first week. I don't know how else to say that other than they obviously do not think this is a priority. And for it to be a priority, we're going to have to keep poking. So, real quick break. Today's live stream is brought to you by First Form, and what we're going to be doing today is giving away some more of these protein sticks. I actually have them here today. I got my shipment, so the guy who won the ones last time, I am literally preparing a box for you to send your allotment of jalapeno cheddar meat sticks to you. This is probably my favorite product from First Form, and this is an 18 gram of protein stick. No MSG, no added nitrates, gluten-free if you're into that sort of thing, 160 calories, and they're delicious. And actually, okay, let me put it this way. If I eat like a bag of Jack Link's jerky or something like that, my wife wants me to relocate into a different room. Right? She will actually allow me around her with these. So in order to win an allotment of these protein sticks, these meat sticks, I want you guys to come up with something funny that is, and leave it in the comments, or it's got to be in the live chat, something funny pertaining to the administration's priority list as it relates to the Second Amendment. So whoever's, I don't care what it is, I'm going to give you guys very loose parameters on this one because I'm in a really bad mood about this. Okay. Because again, we had that thing that we could, we had that thing on Friday, which they made a big deal about. The president's going to meet with Bondi and you know, all that sort of stuff, and we assumed that it was just going to be like some kind of like press conference or something like that. No, it was multiple hours of a bunch of people beating their chests over how awesome law enforcement is. So there's that. Which same day as that happened, we found out that the deadline had been pushed back, gave her an extra week. And then a lot of people said, okay, well, you know, Kurt, it's Sunday. And when somebody says they're going to release something on Sunday, to me, that means that they're trying to basically sweep it, right? If you want people to see something, you put it out right now. is when you put it out, right? Monday at like 11 o'clock, 11:30-ish, right before people's lunch hour. That is when you put out something. So I suppose we should go ahead and refresh this to make sure that it didn't just come out like a couple minutes ago. And then, so yesterday, they basically had this. So they had that thing on Friday, and then over the weekend, the administration was pretty active. So the 15th, the 16th, you can see those things here. They were relatively active. They had plenty of stuff going on, right? But let's go and say, oh, well, it was Saturday or it was Sunday. They took the day off or whatever. No, they didn't, because many members of the administration went on TV across the shows, basically. And yesterday, they even had the press secretary come out and talk. But again, this was not about anything that had to do with the Second Amendment. This is all about the cartels and stuff, right? Which I'm not saying isn't a substantive issue, right? Obviously, that's a big deal. But come on, man. Like, what's the holdup? So I guess what I want to say this morning is, to me, the administration is at a make or break point, right? So they had better come out with this thing soon. And they had better come out with this thing soon, and it had best be awesome. It had better check all the boxes. It had better be all the way needle tanked in the win, right? Because if it isn't, then there's going to be some real backlash with this. Because I know from talking to several of my friends in this space, and not just on YouTube, but across platforms, that we were willing to basically say it's cool that it's imperfect when it was due, right? When you said, hey, first round, good first try, you made it like on time, 30 days, you came up with a whole bunch of stuff, and it's like, hey, yeah, you got it right, but we need to tweak this a little bit, and this is where you should focus. And, for a first round of getting rid of all of the Biden stuff, that should be really freaking easy, right? And the idea that it took a collection of people 30 days plus a week plus a day now to figure out what those things are tells me that they are not properly plugged in, because I can list them for you like right now, and it wouldn't be all that difficult. I'd probably get a 90% score going off of no notes, right? So things like the pistol brace rule, things like the engaged in the business rule, things like the frame and receiver rule, the zero tolerance policy at the ATF. Some of those are at different stages litigation-wise, and that litigation should be allowed to go to the Supreme Court, and the Department of Justice should aid in making sure that those cases go to the Supreme Court and are massaged to come up with binding precedent that prevents this kind of crap from ever happening again. Some of those other ones, like the engaged in the business rule or the zero tolerance policy, those are more at the preliminary stages, and the engaged in the the zero tolerance policy is just an interagency policy. Like, that stuff can just be scrapped and written out. So let's go to the chat here for a second. Raphael says they should stop making promises that they either cannot or won't keep. Right, exactly. I think that, and people are saying that this looks like a big fat nothing burger from the administration. You're right. I'm not saying that she won't. I'm just saying that she doesn't do us any favors. Yeah, so I guess I hope that the administration proves me wrong, because there is another side of it that I am basically teetering, right? I'm teetering on the knife edge, and it's not just me, right? There are lots of people out there that work in this space that are teetering on the knife edge of you have expended a fair amount of your goodwill. So if it comes out and it's like, yeah, you know what? Part of our legislative agenda is going to be to pack a must-pass spending bill with a repeal the National Firearms Act provision. Okay, well, I'm glad that you took your time and you got it right, because there is a okay, I don't know how many of you guys are gamers, right? But if a company rushes through, if a developer rushes through the programming of something and doesn't thoroughly test it, doesn't vet it, or any of that sort of stuff, or even reach out to the third-party testers, and they just mash it out there and just run with it, then there's the potential that the thing could be absolute dog shit. And that happens all the time. So there is an element of, all right, if you're taking extra time to make sure you get it right, then tell us that you're taking extra time to make sure that we get it right. Because, like, for instance, I'm one of the content creators for Total War Warhammer 3, right? And if Creative Assembly says, hey, we're pushing back the patch 2 weeks because we found a development problem, and we actually think that if we take those 2 weeks, we can add some extra stuff to it, then my response is going to always be, all right, get it right. Make sure that it's good when it comes out. And there is an element of that when it comes to this. I'm willing to give the administration a little bit of rope, but there is no communication at all. All I'm getting is crickets from this administration. There is no, hey, you know, maybe we break this into phases, even, where this is the stuff that is like super easy to fix. We're going to do that right now, right? And then, hey, this stuff's a little bit harder. We're going to do this, you know, in another wave, right? Like, there are ways to handle this, and the way that I see the current status quo of the administration is they just want a box that they can check so they can move on to other things. That is the growing sentiment that we get from this administration, because they don't communicate about it. We had to dig to get that, oh yeah, it's actually going to come out on Sunday, which is currently Monday, right? So there is an element of it. Maybe they're just taking their time to get it good, but there also might be an element of the administration needing to be massaged behind the scenes, because maybe there are some people that are working behind the scenes that are like, you can't release it like that. Because Kingslayer Democles here dropped a $5 super chat, and he says Bondi is probably trying to convince Trump that all the Biden regulations are good and constitutional. I have no faith in her. Bro, I'm assuming bro, I think that you might be close, but I would say that Trump doesn't know anything about it either, right? He's not a gun guy. And he never has been a gun guy. Now, his Don Jr. is, certainly, and I was hoping that Don Jr. was going to play a large role in this administration when it came to firearms policy, because, you know, I've literally met the man at trade shows. Like, he's on the team, right? So maybe massage Dad a little bit to get him to go in a particular direction. Maybe that has happened, And maybe that internal fight is going on right now. But all I can say is that neither Trump or Bondi's track record on Second Amendment issues is very good. So when he says that he's had a change of heart about this sort of stuff, that remains to be seen to me. And putting my faith in somebody who says, take the guns first, due process later. We don't want to go through 6 months of court proceedings or stuff like that to be able to take people's guns away. Both of them have said that, and that does not give me good feels. Okay? The dude who literally engineered the current executive fiat system that is being used. Remember that not even Obama did the stuff that Trump did when he was here the first time. And once Trump did it, then Biden came in and basically carbon copied his process of basically just coming up with new rules as they see fit. You guys have seen the video I did on Marvin Richardson, where he's basically sitting there, basically like, we did a great thing by just rewriting the definitions type thing. We don't need Congress. We could just rewrite the definitions and say what it means. Yeah, that didn't just get conjured out of thin air. That was the first Trump administration. So I'm saying that I am more than hesitant about this one. But they did write the executive order saying that they want to look at this sort of stuff. What does that actually mean? I don't know, guys. And this whole thing where it's taking this long, specifically when it comes to the Biden era stuff, that stuff should be so easy to do that I don't understand why you needed 30 days even to figure that out. So okay, so the chat says get Tulsi involved. She's a huge gun gal. She was a Democrat until like literally a couple months ago. So concerned there, right? So I would also say that Trump was a Democrat for a long period of time, right? So I find ourselves in a situation where the administration is not giving anybody good feels about this right now. The only people that are feeling really good right now are the like super duper Trumpers that are like in the tank for absolutely everything that he does. So like, I got problems with the big Law and Order thing too, because you know you can. I did a short this past weekend where it was literally like, hey, we back the blue. And then there's a splice that shows them talking about law enforcement coming and taking your guns without due process. And then there's another splice that says, you know, anybody who kills a law enforcement officer should be as quickly as possible be given the death penalty. And it's like, hey, are we all hearing the same thing here? Because this sounds like we're in kind of dangerous territory. And maybe it's entirely innocent, which I assume that what they're currently doing is entirely innocent. But what happens when the groundwork for those things is laid and they're no longer here to be the arbiters of it? They've built a machine, or they're in the process of building a machine that anybody can use once they gain access to the controls. And that's concerning to me. So let's take another break. Today's live stream is brought to you by First Form. The winner of today's giveaway will be getting a package full of these jalapeno meat sticks. They are an 18 gram of protein, no MSG, no added nitrates. It is literally a jerky stick, right? So to win this, you must leave a funny comment about the administration's posture on the Second Amendment. And there should probably be some truth in there. So We will select that. I select it after the live stream is complete. And the guy who won them last time, I'm going to pack your box as soon as I get off today's live stream. So let's go ahead and refresh this and see if for some reason, see if anything has come out. So, oh yeah, I forgot. We were talking about this. We went on the shows, right? So this is everything that the administration did this weekend. Did not mention the Second Amendment once, right? They do a chest beating article this morning about how he's the highest approval he's ever had, all that sort of stuff. And I'm telling you, Mr. President, there are a lot of gun owners out there that are starting to get a little bit impatient with you, right? You promised first day, first week. We are way past first day, first week. You promised 30 days after that. We're past that. We're a week past that. You promised a week. So now we're a day after that deadline, still not here, right? So go and do, sir. So I guess what I'm saying is that the approval rating, you might say that your approval rating is high, but it's going to start tanking because if you don't get this one right, the Second Amendment community will literally fight you every single day for the next 4 years. We did it to your predecessor. You did it in your previous administration, and we fought you for half of your administration. And I would like to point out that you also lost that follow-up election. As someone who talks to a lot of people in the gun industry, a lot of gun folks, yeah, a lot of us straight up did not show up for you because of the things that you did in your first administration. You have some redemption to earn on this one, so you should get there. So yeah, this whole thing about highest approval for now, and if you don't get on it, so there's that. And then as far as the Attorney General is concerned, still crickets since March 15th, right? So the chat says simple. They made promises that they can't keep. Yeah, I disagree. I think that they could easily keep these. So, John 7M7, $4.99 super chat. Don Jr., Tulsi, etc. are gun lovers the same way Tim Kennedy is. They love it for them, not for you and I. And there is no great savior for the 2A. I have been saying that for years, right, as it relates to this administration. But again, they have an opportunity to prove us all wrong. And right now, they're squandering that opportunity. Because for every minute now that you've taken, again, that did not do first day, did not do first week, right? Well, he said first week and then first day, right? So did not do any of those. We'll give him first week, right? Within the first month, he came out and said, hey, we're going to do an executive order. We're going to give the Attorney General 30 days, right? You were already on thin ice when you did the 30 days. And then 30 days elapses and you had more important stuff to do. So you did another week. That thing should have come out at midnight Sunday night or Saturday night. That's technically Sunday morning. Midnight Sunday morning. All right, that's a better descriptor. That thing should have come out first thing in the morning to be 100% on time. Here we are. It's almost noon. The day after the deadline, the second deadline has passed. As of right now, whatever you do is going to be looked at through the lens of, well, it's about damn time. Everything that you do, unless it is 100% perfect, at this point in time. Like literally like includes legislative agenda to repeal certain things that have been in place for almost 100 years now. Outside of pursuing a legislative agenda that directly attacks that sort of stuff, everything that you do with this executive order is going to look like, yeah, you probably could have done that first day. Like, why did it take you 30 days? You clearly are not paying attention. You clearly don't care. And we just expect this is going to be the same behavior that we got from the last time you were here. Because, again, we feel as though you saying that stuff on the campaign trail, and now that you're in office, it's just a, hey, we have to check the box so that they'll shut up and go away. That's how we're feeling right now. And every second that this page is not updated with a comprehensive plan that includes eliminating and repealing legislation that infringes on the Second Amendment rights of American citizens, you're losing support. $9.99 super chat from the Southern V. Trump and the Republicans treat gunners like Democrats treat African Americans once and are in power, or once they are in power, where this is not. Once they're in power, they're not going to do anything significant for you, and just be glad the other side did not win. Basically, yeah, 100%. Because what they're going to say is, oh, well, we were the most Second Amendment-oriented administration. You can put as much mustard on a shit sandwich as you want. It's still going to taste like shit. So doing the stance of, yeah, we're going to do nothing to you or for you does not get it done, right? That's not what you ran on. Doing nothing to you and nothing for you is not what you ran on. You ran on tearing it up by the root. Those were your exact words. Tearing it up by the root. We expect there to be some offense in this administration as it relates to the Second Amendment. And if you're not going to give us offense, then we will fight you every single day. And it will, every single thing that you do will be undertoned by a, hey, you made a promise and you didn't keep it, right? So why should we trust you on anything else? And that is how we will write it every single day if we have to. We would prefer to work with the administration. We would prefer that they just do things in the timely fashion that they promised doing them, instead of getting sidetracked with all this other stuff that, let's be, like, I understand that we're very, siloed and focused on Second Amendment-related issues, but this is supposed to be an enumerated right, the second thing that they wrote in the Constitution that has been under attack in this country for almost 100 years. Why can't that be a higher priority? I'm not going to wade into the whole fentanyl thing because I have some very, I have some takes on that are probably not fit for public consumption, at least on a platform like this, right? But the truth of the matter is we're way more concerned about all of the issues associated with the border. And really, many of the things that we're asking the administration to do are pretty darn easy. Like, they could sit down and do them in an afternoon. Some of them are harder. And I think that if they wanted to generate that goodwill, it would be as easy as 2 weeks ago, come out and say, hey, you know what? This is going to take a lot of effort, and it's going to take legislation, and it's going to take some work in the courts to finish up, right? But you know what? These are the things that we can address right now. We can crush these things right now. And we did. And here it is. Like a single-page document is probably all it needs to be, right? And we can't get that. So anyway, Trump should be less focused on trolling Canada and more on defending the Second Amendment. Pam Bondi should do her job and stop going on Fox every 2 days. Or if she went on Fox, how about you just say, we're working on it? And I understand that part of that is also related to the commentator. The actual person leading the interview has to ask the question. You know, there are some mechanisms that allow them to, segue the conversation into something else like that. That could happen if they wanted to get that. But that tells me when they haven't done that, that they haven't been focusing on it, right? Because you would think as much pressure as they have been getting, that they would want that off of their back. And that just tells me that they haven't focused on it. So, Dorzak, $5 super chat. Trump's sense of showmanship, could they be delayed until April 19th, 250th anniversary of Lexington? No. I don't think that that's what's going on. I really don't know. I don't think that... I think you're giving the man too much credit. And I know that I am a serial detractor, but I also voted for the man, right? And I am also not a single issue voter. So what I would say is, even though I work here in the Second Amendment space, this 4D chess bullcrap does not hunt for me, because it shouldn't be all that hard. And I understand that the man is not principled on the Second Amendment. He has to have somebody that leads him by the hand and tells him what it is, because when he says, I'm going to the range, he means he's going to go hit some balls with a stick. When I say I'm going to go to the range, when anybody says that they're going to go to the range, I have a completely different connotation to that whatsoever. Like, that we live in different worlds. When when anybody says I'm going to the range, even if they're carrying golf clubs, I have to say, oh, they mean that they're going to go to the driving range. Cool. We don't do that here. It's a perfectly good waste of a shooting range. All right, let's refresh some stuff and see if it's up yet. Nope. Crickets, all news. Crickets from the AG. Let's just make sure that this isn't, yep. Let's just make sure that, presidential actions. Nope. Remarks. Nope. Let's just do news. Yep. Nothing. Right? To be expected. Okay, there's a whole bunch of comments about money and power and all that sort of stuff. And I mean, I get that, right? But I don't think... Does that... So I look at it like this, right? He's only got 4 years, right, to accomplish his agenda. And most of that agenda is not going to really bear fruit until years down the road. So in order to make sure that the legacy of what he does in these 4 years, and really probably, depending on how the midterm elections go, the next 2 years, right? For those to really do well long-term and him being able to sit back and say, yeah, we did that thing, right? They have to maintain power into the next administration, right? They can't just get it done in the 4 years, right? They're going to need another sequential Republican president because they don't have the second term, so to speak. So they need like another 4 years of like a J.D. Vance or a Ron DeSantis or a something like that. They need that so that he can sit back and say, hey, the legacy of the stuff that we put in place in 2025, 26, maybe 27, 28, right? The legacy of those things is secured, and they have been able to integrate all of those things into the processes. Because everything they're doing right now can just be reversed without major legislative action or even long-standing, I hate to use the term, but deep state realignment. And that takes a decade, right? So they need to at least get another administration. And in order to do that, they've got to make sure that their base is happy. And right now, we are not happy. That was my phone, not yours. Let's see. Oh, that sucks. We lost power yesterday. Like the whole area lost power. My wife works at I don't want to get super into that, but basically they lost a whole bunch of coolers at work. And yeah, it was really bad. Like literally we had an 80-mile-an-hour windstorm basically. And it like knocked over power poles and trees and all that sort of stuff. Some of the power poles literally fell on some of their employees' cars in the parking lot, like knocked the power out bad. So I'm getting updates to see how bad her day is going, but it's going pretty bad. So, yeah, the general sentiment that I'm getting from you guys is you also feel blown off by the administration. And I think that you should. And what we should do to make sure that this is consistently in the public space is you guys need to go over to Twitter right now, X, whatever you want to call it, and you need to put them on blast, right? Every single one of you needs to go over there and just be like, hey, where's that Second Amendment executive order? Hey, it's been more than 30 days. It's been more than 37 days. Like, hey, let's do it. Let's go. Where is this thing, right? We expect this from you. And that's what it's going to have to take, because I guarantee that somebody says, some gal married you? Yes, and she is hot. Okay. We have to continuously push their buttons and make sure that they know that we are watching what they're doing. This is a substantive issue that we care about, because it is my opinion that this administration will run from this as long as they possibly can. I have no reason to believe that they'll do anything different, because that's what they did the first time around. They did basically nothing substantive for the Second Amendment, even though the famous clip on the campaign trail was the war on the Second Amendment is over. Yeah, the war might have been over, but you opened a different front in a completely different area, right? So I think this administration will run from this thing as long as we let them run from this thing. And what it takes is on the ground game from you guys, just hitting them every single day. Where is this thing? We've been waiting for this thing. You're late. That's the one that I think is probably the most effective, is to tell them that they're late. We expected this, like you said, first day, first month. And here we are going on our first day, first week. Here we are 2 months in, and we still don't have it. So you got to create that wave, so to speak. And I guess I am very concerned, and this is kind of how I wanted to wrap it up today. And before I get to this, again, stream is sponsored by First Form. In order to win a package of these jalapeno meat sticks, I need you to go into the live chat and a funny comment about the orientation of the administration towards the Second Amendment, how you feel about it, right? And I'll be picking a winner in the comments after this turns into a VOD. But anyway, my major concern, because this is what happened last time, my major concern is they do all this stuff that they're really concerned about, right? This border stuff and the Doge stuff and I'm not saying that those aren't good endeavors, right? But they're focused on that stuff. And my concern is that by the time we get to the Second Amendment stuff, I'm concerned that the timeline is going to get pushed back if we don't get on their ass about these missed deadlines, that they will allow this to just run as long as we give them rope. And we will end up in a situation where we come into a second half of the administration, second half of the term, having just done the midterm elections, and maybe we don't pick up seats, or maybe we lose seats. We lose control of the government, basically, And basically, that's when the Second Amendment stuff starts, because they know at that point in time, there's nothing they can do about it. They can't get anything passed, and they can do all the rah, 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 jumping up and down, screaming, red in the face, all the political activism that they want, because there is absolutely no way that anything that they do will result in any positive impact on taking ground back on the Second Amendment. That is my fear. And is that the situation that we end up in? I don't know. It depends on how this thing goes. But we don't even really have 2 years, right? We have more like 6 months, because that campaign season is going to start here pretty shortly for those midterm elections. And a bunch of those, like, people that are sort of on the fence but might get behind some legislative action to look like the cool kids and do the cool thing, are going to be very hesitant to do that in like 2026, early part of 2026. So my clock on this is like, we need all of the things that we want to get done for the Second Amendment. We have to ram that crap through this administration's throat. We need to cram it down their throat and ram it through Congress in like the next 6 months, right? It needs to happen before they go home for Thanksgiving, because otherwise it ain't happening, folks. And that is my major concern. So what do you guys got? What do you guys think? Is it going to happen? Let's go ahead and refresh the page. Oh, look, refresh the page. Nothing but crickets. Yep. Still nothing on that promise. First day, first week, going to tear up all that stuff that Biden did. Trump administration will put its jalapeno meat stick in the rear, and MAGA Nation will ask for more with a side of copium. But hey, Gulf of America. Whew. That John 7M7. He's really wanting them jalapeno meat sticks, man. Really wanting them jalapeno meat sticks. Wow. That was quite possibly the best super chat that hit the nail on the head. So let's see if anybody does any better on that. But other than that, let me check really quick. I don't know how long we've been running this. Let me check my OBS really quick. We've been here for 55 minutes, so let's make it an even hour, and we can talk about anything you want. We can talk about other policies, firearms-related stuff that I'm currently working on. Currently got a couple projects in for testing, so I'm having a good time with them. Actually, I think I've got 4 projects here for testing right now. one of which literally, you know what? I'm just going to go for it. You guys know that it costs money to go out and test things, right? Like, I've talked to you guys about this many times before. Oop. Where did my chat go? Oh, there it is. I've talked to you guys about this many times before. It costs a lot of money to go out and test guns. And I probably do it for probably half of what I probably should do it for, just because it's not really a thing that I want to price myself out of doing, but it's getting closer and closer to that, especially when I run into situations like this where I've got somebody right now who I'm like, they accepted the invoice and they're like, what is, we're a month later and we're like, what is this? It's like, hey, took me 60 hours. I've got 60 hours in this project. I've got $700 or $800 in ammunition, right? I've got upkeep on equipment. I've got electric bill, heating bill, this office costs money, right? How do you not? We talked about this at length. How do you not? So it's situations like this that make me wonder if I should continue to do these kind of projects, because I know that you guys like them, but I find myself more routinely having to deal with people in the gun industry that don't pay their bills, right? And it irks the heck out of me to the point where, yeah, I've got 4 projects here right now. And I know that's a couple months worth of work at my current tempo, simply because I do the news every day or most days of the week. So I've got a dog right over there that's probably asleep, that some days I literally can't go to the range because I don't want to deafen the dog, right? And he really is not at a stage where I can just leave him with somebody right now. So, like, I don't know. Do you guys enjoy the testing videos? I know that I read the comments, but I mean, I think that most of you tune in the channel these days for the news. So, I don't know. I'm going to continue to do them, but if it continues to be like this, at some point, I'm just going to go through and be like, these people don't pay their bills, never work with them. Because, it's such a pain in the ass. Such a pain in the ass. So, anyway, Sean Zimmerman says, everything in the DOJ is going to change. Prove it. Prove it. I don't see a whole lot of change right now. All I see is more of the same. All I see is reorganization of assets, right? So as far as like changing stuff, what I see changing is that they're taking the ATF assets and reallocating them elsewhere, and they're more closely integrating the ATF with the FBI, which sounds like a bad idea to me because, yeah, it might be innocent for what they're currently doing with it, but what happens after they're no longer there to be the arbiters of the machine that they built? Because the FBI and DOJ has like 10 or 100x the budget and manpower of the ATF. I don't like where that's going at all. Okay, so I see lots of you guys are saying that you do enjoy the testing videos. It's just know that, like, and like today, for instance, I have some stuff that I got to do here shortly, and again, we'll recheck this. I will drop everything that I'm doing today to cover this Second Amendment executive order if it ever comes through, right? But the stuff that I have scheduled this afternoon is not, it's more farm related. And I simply, you know, there are some days that I can't commit to going out and doing this. And some of those projects, like the last project that I published on, that project took me like 70 hours, right? And my friends and brother helped me with that one, right? So they were there, and it cost the ammunition. You see, there's a lot. So when I do stuff like this, I get to, like, this is an hour live stream, right? I did maybe 10 minutes of thumbnail work beforehand, and I probably did maybe a half hour before that of trying to figure out why the live stream wouldn't work, right? But other than that, an hour and a half worth of work, you know, that's an easy one. When I do a commentary video, usually about an hour and a half. If it's a really heavily edited video, like if I have to go through and do like a full read on a Supreme Court decision, yeah, that can take a minute. Certainly take a minute. Yeah, so those projects are more scalable than the testing projects. So the other thing that I wanted to do is, somebody says, do the testing videos as you can afford it. Yeah, I can afford it, but it's like one of those things where it's like, okay, if I'm not at least recouping the cost of like 60, of a portion of like 50 or 60 hours, then how many of these videos could I have done, right? Because if I go out like it's raining today and it's super windy, so I'm not going to be out there. But if I go out there, then I have the opportunity of the opportunity cost missing. I have a chance of opportunity cost miss on getting on this executive order, like when it comes out, right? Because it was supposed to be out like a week and a half ago. But I mean, I can't just sit here and refresh the page all day. You know what I mean? Like I actually have other stuff that I have to do, but it's also not as easy as just like, oh, going to the range, right? Like there's a bunch of stuff that has to move each time, and you know, there's a shot list and a plan list, and like there's the testing time where we're actually out there testing, and then it's like, all right, well, we also have other stuff that is just like film time, right? Like I need pretty pictures of this thing, that sort of thing, right? And that all takes time, and that's just basically frivolous waste. I mean, it's not frivolous because you guys, I try to do a good job for you guys, but anyway. So what I'm going to do is here in a second, I'll give you guys another opportunity to ask some more questions. So if you got a question, go ahead and put it in the chat down below. And remember that this is sponsored by First Form. And if you are looking for any of our, that is not the right page. If you're looking for any of our stuff when it comes to any of our affiliates, if you're looking for a code for something, if you're looking for a link, you know, whatever it is, we have an affiliates page where all this stuff is available, right? So everything from like the whip machine guys to you know, Blackout Coffee, and of course we have a First Form, and I'm going to put this up in the chat right here. If you use that link, do me a favor, use that link, go there, generate some impressions for me, and if you see something that you want, that you might think that you want to pick up, that purchase helps me. It helps support the channel, and it is one of those things that generates just some background income. So like I said, First Form, I use their meat sticks, I use their protein products, I use their pre-workouts, although I've gone back a little bit on the pre-workouts because I'm trying to taper down my caffeine intake. So I'm taking like half of a scoop like these days before I work out, just trying to edge that down a little bit. Their energy drinks are really good. That they're a little bit more manageable in the caffeine. If you're looking for something, they're very tasty. So use the First Form stuff to great effect. And I will also have this in the VOD for those of you who want to catch up after the fact, or catching this thing after the fact. So Braden, it sounds to me like Braden is live over working on the Biden pardons, which sounds kind of interesting. I kind of want to go watch that. So why don't we go ahead and just say, everybody go over to Braden's stream, and it says Snope was relisted. Dorzak says Snope was relisted. So let me see this. When was it relisted? Yeah, for when is the question. So if you're looking for updates on the Second Amendment news, when it relates to the update from the Attorney General, or you can obviously follow me on X, right? You can stay tuned to the channel here. As soon as I have this document, I will post it on my X account, right? So go follow me on X as soon as I have it, and I'm going to be checking multiple times a day, multiple sources a day. I basically have some tabs up over here. I'm going to refresh these all day. I'm going to refresh it on my phone. We just got an update from the AG, and look, oh, would you look at that? Not associated with the Second Amendment whatsoever. So again, day late, dollar short, as expected. Still not talking about Second Amendment, even though they're over a month late. Yep. Got an update from the AG. And did we get anything from the White House? No. So again, I'm going to continue to go through this, looking for this stuff to pop up. And as soon as I have the documents, I will publish them on X for you guys to read. We will also be doing a follow-up. I'll probably do a dedicated video whenever it comes out. I'll do a dedicated video that's pre-recorded with my thoughts. And then I'll probably also do a live stream similar to this one, where we like have an opportunity to talk back and forth about what's going on. Right. So, I guess late again, folks. If you are under any impression that this administration cares about your Second Amendment rights, I think that the proof is in the pudding, and there's not a whole lot of support for that line of thinking. Bye.